Hello and welcome to Making a Metaverse, the podcast where we discuss how to make a metaverse. We can do that because we're doing it ourselves. More on how to do that in the description.
They're loosey-goosey, eh?
I just made it up top of my head.
That's literally what you've said every single time, word for word.
Catchphrases. As always, I'm joined by the smartest man in blockchain and Mr. Metaverse himself.
Every time.
Robbie Cochrane. How are you, Robbie?
I'm just going to own that from here on out. Yes, I am.
Ooh, arrogant.
You know, what's the proverb like? If it walks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, then it's a fucking duck.
Do you know, like, the definition of pretentious?
You?
Zing. Rob, how have you been smart this month? SMART. You know? Smart.
What, like, as in specific, measurable, achievable, realistically and timely?
If anyone wants to know a bit about Robbie, that is what he's into more than anything these days. He loves it. So how have you been smart?
By holding everybody else to account for not being smart.
That is true. Rob, I got some interesting story to share with you.
Go on.
So I met your celebrity dream crush from the 2010s. This week.
I'm trying to think, actually. No, you didn't. Was it 2010? No, you wouldn't have known that.
No. I think I've got an idea of who you might have liked, at least, you know. And this is sort of
You're just making this up.
I'm not. These are the sort of circles you
just
frequented. I'm in London.
Loosey-goosey.
I'm in London, you know, I'm knocking about, I'm going to events, I'm going to sort of VIP type events and stuff. And I was at a play, a reading, you know, a reading of a new musical I was. The thing is, Rob, I'm cultured. You're not very cultured. You're from Nottingham. You're just fucking about your computer games all day. But I'm there. I'm like, okay, where is the latest art? And then I go look for it, and I'm there. And all of a sudden, I'm in the line. Guess who's standing next to me, staring at me? You know,
you think you're so cultured, but you wear a grey T-shirt every day, all day.
I don't know what. Yeah,
it's like culture.
I can't afford more clothes.
Yes,
fact.
you can. You wear you bought those really expensive wavy pants that you got like a lot of abuse for wearing at my stag do.
I've got another pair of them actually. They're like what is the tiger type, you know, leopard print. That's it. They're very.
You're not normal, are you?
Very trendy. So Rob, I met your dream celebrity crush from 2010. She was looking at me. She was like, you know,
you're fit.
Well, yeah. She was like, you know, do you want to go back to mine? I'm like, I'm with my girlfriend. So
I won't want to upset my friend. You know, you always had a crush on you. Yeah.
Well, so do you have any guesses who it might be?
I'm just trying to think. I mean, there is like maybe a couple of like celebrities that I thought were mildly attractive back in those days. I mean, you know, I'm way out of most of their leagues, so I don't look down at the peons most of the time, as you know. But I had to guess. I mean, I guess, you know, there was probably Alicia Cuthbert.
No, I didn't meet Alicia Cuthbert. I mean, like, you know, set your expectations a little bit lower. Like, yeah, I met. So I met X Factor legend, right?
Oh, I know you're going to talk about. I didn't have a crush on her. I just thought I had a crush on her voice. I thought she had a great little. We're gonna
go say the same person. I know. Yeah, this is the person.
Yeah,
I met everybody.
Diana Vickers.
I met Diana Vickers. Yeah. Yes. So she was standing opposite me. She was like, you know,
was she hot?
She was all right, actually. She'd been up like maybe the last 3 nights on the lash. So, yeah. So she'd been boozing. She didn't want to be there. She's like, "Fuck, I've got to come to the VIP." I was like, "Oh yeah, me too."
Me too.
I didn't say a word to her, but
I knew you.
Yeah, no, I didn't say a word. I was too scared to.
Pussy.
I was like to my partner. I was like, "Sean, I'm going to get a photo," you know. And she was like,
of her or with her?
Well, with her. And Sean was like, "Do not embarrass me." She was literally she was like, "Don't fucking embarrass me here, okay? Or we're finished." If you even talk to her, because it was like quite a celebrity, you know, I don't know if you know Alice Levine and a couple of other kind of like, you know, trendy Londoners were there.
You know me, I'm not into the celebrity London lifestyle.
Because you are a celebrity yourself, suppose. You don't really sort of...
I'm an international one, you know.
Blockchain celebrity. So that was how I started my week, Rob. I met celebrities. Circles are going. Tell me about you. You moved house.
I did move house, yeah. Like, don't do it, people, ever. The end. Before that, though, I had my phone ruined. And that was annoying. Because I went to my friend's stag do and like I got thrown in the pool. Remember?
Oh, I do remember. So what happened? You were on a stag do?
They cancelled the flights like the next day. Yeah. So long story short, It's 6 p.m. at night. All the lads drunk by the pool. Not me. I'd just been watching football. Came back and they threw me in the pool. Ha ha ha. Very funny. But I had my phone on me. Brought my phone. And then about 3 hours later, the lad who organised the stag pulls us all together and goes, "Oh, I won't name the flight agency because I don't know, slander, defamation. I don't know.
We can at them. We can at them, and then maybe they will share this podcast."
At Ryanair, cancel the flight at like 9 p.m. at night when we were due to fly the next day. And we were all, yeah, you're so funny, a nice one. And no, it was true. Yeah, they actually did.
Oh, shit. So you were stuck, basically.
Apparently, the French, La Baguette, were striking.
Offensive.
It's
racist,
not, no, it's like...
culturally inappropriate?
No. If you watch CSGO, it's perfectly appropriate. Everyone calls the French La Baguette.
Do they really?
Yeah, they actually do, yeah.
That's interesting though, Rob, because it sounds like when you sort of throw someone in the pool, it's usually like the little run to the group, like the easiest one to get at sort of thing, which is, that's like your...
It took 4 men 5 times your size.
That's not true.
They did not dare go near me. Like, they were like, to the lads, "Oh, yeah, you throw Rob in the pool." Like, "Don't do it. He will kill you all."
You've fallen so... That just shows how, like... In our group, though, you're like the hardest, but in your group, you're like the weakest. Is that how it is?
Just for context, like everyone in our friendship circle is like 6'2" plus, and I'm the 5'8" little runt, and they're all scared of me. Just for context.
Well, it doesn't sound like it. They tricked you in the pool, mate. Okay, Rob. So you've been to Benidorm. You've moved house. You've had a crazy week.
Albufera.
Albufera. We're going Benidorm later in the year, aren't we?
We are for our old friends stag do. We're that age now. Like, everyone's getting married and having kids and stuff.
Yeah, not me, Rob. I'm still a bachelor till I die.
You're with somebody. You've been with her a while.
Yeah, no, we're very, very happy. So she doesn't listen to this anyway. So even if I said that sarcastically,
the odds are that she's not going to listen to it. Apart from that one time where you said something and she just so happened to put it on in the car on the way to work, and she's like, "Dan, you told me about that. I can't remember when it was."
Yeah, well, we've got a great editor anyway, so they can get rid of everything.
We don't edit. This is all. How long have we been talking about crap? I haven't even talked about the metaverse yet. Like, people are literally not going to watch this.
No, it's fine anyway. Trust me. So I just want to talk to you. This is like I want to make sure this is recorded.
Just have a chat and record it.
Rob, so I want to do things a bit differently this week, right? So this month, I was looking back at our old podcast, and whilst I may say something interesting, and you might, bore the shit out of everyone with some long ass explanation. I wanted to do really a focused piece, on a particular subject, so people can kind of, file this away in the British Library and pick it out when they want to find out about what. What am I thinking? Content creation in the metaverse.
Okay. What about it?
Well, that's what I've got you here for.
All right.
So, I want to talk about who might create podcast content creation in the metaverse, who those people might be, what sort of things they might create. I want people to understand what sort of platform this might be for content creation in the future. I've got a stat here that kind of the metaverse is going to create kind of 10 million more jobs over the next three years, which is insane to me. Have I pulled that stat out my ass? No. You haven't actually. No, it's real.
Where did it come from?
Well, I don't have a source, but it'll be. My source is,
HP.
That's such a shit joke.
Slapstick
so,
comedy.
The metaverse will create 10 million new jobs by 2024.
Right.
That's just a fact. And the average user is going to spend 3 hours a day in the metaverse by 2024 too. So it gives a sense that there's going to be eyes on the metaverse. So content creators are going to want to get their shit in front of people. Correct?
Yeah, totally correct. I think so, right? I mean, you just look at the technical trajectory of digitalization over the last 20 years, 15, it just intensifies. Like, people spend more and more of their time in digital, don't they? Like, let's be real. I actually had this thing this morning. I shit myself about 3 times, right?
What?
No, seriously. Like, this is my thing. Like, just to kind of like prove the point around like how kind of a little bit freaky and scary it is, how much time people are spending in digital. It's like today when I was riding my motorbike down, right? And like, I don't know, almost like 2 or 3 times I was tripping out. I was like, do I go on the green light? Like literally, like, do I go on this green light?
What do you mean? Like, you only get a speed boost on Mario Kart?
I don't know what I was expecting to happen, but it went green. And usually, like, you know, my motorbike, I'm just like, I'm off and like leave all traffic behind because, you know, leave the crap behind. But today I hesitated like 2 or 3 times, and I realised it was because I probably haven't really rode my motorcycle in like 6 months or something stupid.
Oh, you're not saying like you're getting confused about the rules. You're just like, you are?
Yeah, like like literally real life world rules were almost like in the back of my mind somewhere. That, you know, where like, you know, your mind usually does the thing where you kind of your hippocampus, which is the prefrontal cortex, just goes boom, this is what I need to do. Like it was like I'm having to literally access my long-term memory around real life world rules for I go on green.
Because in the metaverse there is no traffic jams,
right? Or like when you're in the virtual world, you just don't have to think about these like things that might be a matter of life or death in real world. And like also, what was the other thing? Yeah, and I went to get this coffee, right? And like I had to cross the 2 busy roads that are just down here from where we're recording, and like again, green man, and I was like, can I go? Is somebody just going to fly off a different road here somewhere and hit me? I guess the point I'm getting at is I think people are spending more and more time. It's like people working from home, spending more time in digital form, having like Zoom meetings, Google meetings, whatever it may be. The trajectory for this is just that people spend more and more time in digital. And, you know, it's something that whether we like it or not, we kind of need to accept it.
I've got to say there, Rob, like the fact that you're spending that much time that you're forgetting how to cross the road. It's like, oh, how much time are you on the computer?
I didn't say like I'm actually in the process of transferring my consciousness into the no, I didn't forget. It just took me that split second longer than what it would have done any other point in time. It just felt like maybe I didn't have my morning coffee. It could have been part of that as well, but that's why I got this. But it just felt like it would just take me a little bit longer to sort of think about the world rules a little bit.
I just wonder what it's going to be like for you as you get deeper and deeper to the metaverse, what you're going to forget.
It could also be a lack of sleep and, you know, feeling, you know, house move, blah, blah, blah. So there's probably compounding factors, but I guess, you know, the interesting point is that I think that the point being that people are going to spend more and more times in virtual environments.
I agree. So the police don't need to come and section you. Just
Not yet.
Take your license away. Okay, Rob, so we're going to talk all about content creation today. We know it's getting big, and what I've got a surprise for you. I've got, you know...
For me?
Well, Cryptoverse's head of content, you know, technical director, Mal Perez, joining us on the podcast.
Oh, God, again.
Yeah, he's not in the room, you know. Welcome, Diana Vickers.
Oh, Diana.
Oh, that'd be brilliant.
You're going to sing for us?
I'm gonna at her.
At her?
You know what I mean?
Like,
yeah.
Get her to do like a virtual gig.
I thought about messaging her on Instagram afterwards, but I thought that's wrong, so I didn't.
Why would it be wrong? It depends. If you're saying, will you do something inappropriate, that's wrong. If you're like, hey, I saw you, and
it's creepy.
It was
though.
really
it's
cool.
Creepy, like, and you know, my girlfriend wouldn't appreciate it. Diana Vickers certainly wouldn't appreciate it. You know, it's like it's a lose-lose situation. Yeah, what do I get out of it?
Is she still singing and stuff, Diana Vickers?
I don't know.
She should be. Yeah. I really liked her voice.
Me too, yeah. Me too. She's fantastic. So now, Rob, we are delighted to be joined by Mal Perez, technical director at Cryptoverse, our metaverse. So I know this guy. Disclaimer, you know, I'm going to say he's great, even if he's not, which he is. You know, so, but, you know, thanks for coming on, Mal. How are you doing?
Oh, good. How are you?
I'm good, thanks for
the intro.
Hey Mal, we were just talking about how creepy Dan was around like a celebrity in London recently called Diana Vickers. Do you know who she is?
No, but I believe.
Yeah, I believe too. Like, yeah, because we saw what it was like in Vegas, didn't we?
We're gonna have to cut that because actually, in all fairness, in Vegas, me and Mal were the dream team. You know, nothing could stop us from getting what we wanted, and that was just drink. You know, just boozing.
It's just true. Yeah, and yeah, I agree because I was part of that. We was a tripod.
Oh God. So Mal, thanks for joining us today. Can you tell us a bit? You know, tell us who you are, what do you do, and you know, how you getting on in Cryptoverse.
Yeah, for sure. I'm a 3D artist at core, and basically what I do is I develop content for the Cryptoverse. So anything from 3D modeling to tools, procedural tools that can populate quickly the vast universe, right? Because the cryptoverse is massive. So we need to get smart to create smart. If not, it's no way to fulfill everything that needs to be done.
I see. Yeah, thank you for that, Mal. So the thing is, today I wanted to talk to you guys about creating content in the metaverse, right? I wanted to just, if anyone's listening to this later down the line, they go, right, I understand why I would want to do that or what's in it for me. So let me ask you, Mel, why would someone, a 3D artist, I guess, such as yourself, that's not working for Cryptoverse, why would they want to come and create content in a metaverse? Why is it worth their time?
For sure. This is an emerging technology, right? And what we're doing here is creating a platform for empowering creators like myself, right? Like there is a lot of people who are really good at doing 3D. So if you can monetize your creations, that would be great for every artist out there, So that's what we're doing. We're creating like a platform, and if you can create content that people want, say a skin on a character, and everybody wants to purchase this, you can do it. So you can sell it to the masses.
One of the ideas I often come across actually when I've spoke to people is that actually the metaverse allows you to create things that you wouldn't usually be able to do in real life as well. So like maybe you want to own a shop in real life, but you don't have, the money to buy, an actual shop. But hey, in the metaverse, you can design some 3D version of it and open it, right, Rob?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Mao's kind of obviously just scratching at the really obvious sort of surfaces of what ways that
really obvious, Mal. That was yeah.
No. I mean, I think no. As in, what I'm trying to say is that, it is right to lead with that because it's like people need to understand what are the low hanging fruits. But there are kind of the layers that any creator can go to, like you're sort of referring to here, which is anything you can imagine in the physical world, but just don't have the resources or the kind of finances to do it, or even something that wouldn't be possible in the real world becomes possible in a digital environment. So yeah, I mean, I don't know if people are into it's really low key, a little bit embarrassing for me to admit this, but I quite like Selling Sunset and Selling the OC. I don't know if anyone's watched these programs. Like they're kind of like real what are they called, reality shows, where they sell really expensive real estate in LA and Orange County. I was watching one, and it was like on the first episode of the Orange County one, it's like $100 million house on the coast of Orange County. It's like, well, clearly there's going to be very few people that can afford $100 million beach house in Orange County.
And just like your new one, wasn't it?
I wish, mate. I absolutely wish. Yeah, not even $1 million, mate. But yeah, I mean, in a virtual environment that becomes possible, and obviously you don't get all of the senses, i.e., the touch, I guess, or the smell, because we're in a virtual environment, but you certainly get the spatial, the socio-spatial environment. You get the visual, in some cases even more beautiful than what you might be able to see in the real life, and you can do that at like a fraction of the cost. So I think that's just another example of even creating virtual social environments that lots of people could probably never dream of in the real world. And even deeper than that, we talk about the monetization opportunities, where it's like, well, it'd be really cool to own sea life, right? To own like a marine environment for marine life. Well, again, that's probably $1 billion business that not everybody's going to be able to afford to keep whales. So but in a virtual environment, this is something you can create, you can monetize, you can even create marine life that doesn't exist and go on forever with that. You could kind of have it underground, you could have it floating in the sky. Like it's, we're not confined by physics, right? So it just opens up the potential.
And I was going to sort of go against you there and say will people want to kind of walk around like, a virtual zoo, or or look at sea life that is, made out of polygons? But then I thought about the games that I play, The Last of Us 2 and all these kind of, AAA games. And you have this sense of wonder when you play those games, right? You're not
100%.
like, this is shit. You're like, wow. You have like, wow, you know? So you don't realize, how can you take that and transfer it to the metaverse? All of a sudden, you're going against one of people's probably biggest criticisms about it. Is like, can you make it immersive and like all those wow moments? But clearly people can do that with games already.
Yeah. And most of these physical environments, they are looking at experimenting with trying to reproduce in the virtual as well. Most of these kind of big businesses, they have some sort of immersive digital environment where you can, either go in VR or in like a little space which has augmented reality or whatever. They're all experimenting with these emerging technologies because they understand that it is more immersive. And specifically things like, if you've got people who have like severe disabilities, can't leave the house or whatever, or even like young kids with cognitive impairments or whatever it may be, these types of immersive environments and these emerging technologies really lend themselves to like education too. And again, we just take it back to education. Education in most countries is kind of on its knees. It's not well funded in most countries, and I think these emerging technologies and these digital environments, they make things possible, like going and seeing the Seven Wonders, like, seeing, the Inca Trails, or seeing the pyramids, or even, seeing an environment in space. What is Mars's environment like, for example? This can all be recreated. Yes, you're not going to get the smell or the touch, but you're not going to get that if you were in Mars anyway, because, physically, because it's not really a habitable environment. So you can actually even recreate things that wouldn't otherwise be possible. And I've said Mars is not a habitable environment. It probably is, but you get my point.
It's not.
Not right now.
Well,
anyway.
it's not. I don't know how much you know about space travel, but
no, not masses. But I know that I think it's possible to land on Mars.
It's like having Brian Cox on the podcast, isn't it?
But you get the point, I think.
Mal, so like, and actually, I like a lot of your points there, Rob. We're going to skip over them. No, we'll come back to them.
Ignore them.
No, they're very good. Mal, who are the types of people, what types of people that would want to create content in the metaverse? Who's it actually going to be for?
Well, if you're a technical artist, this is your place to be, right? Like, this is the dream land for somebody who is well balanced, like 50% artist, 50% technical. So usually that falls in the category of technical artist. So if you are one of those weird hybrids out there, this is the place for you.
And I love that, and I think I agree. Like, as well, Rob, you talked about educators, right? So who's going to create the content for the schools?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think a lot of what we do is we look to create proof of concepts or infrastructure tools which empower creators. It would be impossible for us to create all the content ourselves. That it's like, it would be a little bit like saying when Microsoft started to build Windows, that every single app that you use on Windows, imagine Microsoft having to build all that as well at the time. It's just not possible. So what you're relying upon is enabling your creator economies, whether it be developers, whether it be, content creators, artists, or even just the general masses. I mean, if you think about people who have self-taught themselves how to, utilize code, especially like visual programming languages and things like this, like, there is a huge amount of opportunity for monetization and disruption, and really powerful kind of applications to be built across all of those verticals. But it would be impossible for any one person to, for example, say, when the internet was built, it's like, the internet, it's a platform. It's like, it's a space, but the person who created the internet didn't create all the websites, so it's the same sort of, I liken that kind of comparison. We try to create the tooling, the infrastructure layers which support those creators and those kind of, and the artists, and even just the masses that want to come and learn, to be able to deploy content, monetize business ideas, or enjoy exploring and actually engage with the content that's created by others as well.
Actually, I read a stat, guys. and I don't have a source again, but I've not made it up. It's real.
Is it Heinz this time?
No, it's not. Sources. So apparently, and this is the highest of its stat, 60% of people are interested in joining the metaverse for number one reason, monetization opportunities. Now, that's quite I don't know, like, does that seem like on the nose? Does that make sense to you, Mel? Does that seem like it's fair?
Sorry, did you ask to me?
Yeah. I think you lagged out there. His bar dropped for a second. Yeah.
I thought you were talking to Rob. Sorry.
No. Yeah. Does 60?
It's just like real life. I think if you have something unique to offer that people want, you're gonna be doing good. This is a new medium that will probably open it to the masses, right? But if you're an amazing artist, chances are you're gonna have more exposure, and people are gonna be more in touch with your creations, and you can sell, of course.
Is that what you Mao, as a content creator? Like, I know you're a platform builder, but would you be someone that creates content as well in the metaverse, kind of to monetize?
Of course. I mean, I got a parcel, right? So one of my ideas is to open a store where you can go and buy content. So
that's a perfect kind of example, isn't it? Then, isn't it? Like, of how a 3D artist. Actually, Mel, I've been doing some research for Robbie. Well, for the company, I suppose.
The company, but I just instructed you to do it.
Yeah, Rob tells me what shoes to wear in the morning. I kind of just and I listen to him.
I was like, you need to do some real actual work for once, and I really need you to do this.
I was like, fuck off, Rob, I'm busy. I've got to meet Diana Vickers later.
Out swanning about with your airy fairy pants.
That was a meet cute. That was. I sort of in the line. I bumped into her. I was like, oh god,
Diana.
I was like, dirty Diana.
You here.
That's a song by Michael Jackson. I'm not being derogatory.
I knew that.
Can't say it. So actually, there are I would say there's 3 different types of content that's going to be in the metaverse.
See, Danny's learning from the research I told him to do.
Well, what do you want me to do? Not learn from it?
No, I'm really proud of you.
You're forgetting things based on. Mal, before you come on air, Rob told us how he's forgotten to cross the road because he spent so much time in the metaverse that he can't even remember how traffic lights work.
Green means go, Mal. Maybe we should change it, and we could have blue means go. In fact, that's exactly what we're going to do.
What, in the metaverse? That's why you should come to Cryptoverse, everybody, where blue is green and green is blue. It's fantastic.
Let's just unlucky if you're colourblind.
Well, I'm sure you guys have got accessibility options on the mind. It's like the first time you thought about it. Oh, yep, definitely.
Yep. No, Nicola's really lead programmer, for anyone who don't know. He's really keen on that, actually. And we talked about it a few times, but that'll, first baby steps.
Fair enough. So I would say there's 3 different areas of content. I would say there's education is one, right? You've got entertainment that kind of loops in kind of gaming, immersive, events and things like that. And then you got business. I think if we were to have on our website 3 types of content to explore, it could all kind of fall into those 3 buckets. What do you think?
Yeah, I think largely in the real world, those are your 3 big verticals. The only one that seems to be missing is, when you think about it, is medical, right? But in virtual, you don't really. I mean, but you can have educational content for medicine, for medicine and stuff, and anything else. But yeah, in terms of how you would book it, I think those are 3 big ones. I think there's an argument that there's culture as well. I'm
going to make a note of that, actually, because I didn't think about the medical one. But the thing is, there's 2 more. You could have medical, because a lot of the appointments these days are online anyway, right? So you just show them a picture of your, anus, and they just no, I haven't, and I'll send you it, and they just say you're absolutely fine. It looks normal.
Yeah. I've never done that, so I don't know.
I'm just literally fucking committing career suicide on this podcast. So medical.
You did that when you joined us. Wait.
And going downhill like that. Just so I like culturally as well, so like religion and things like that.
Culture's massive, I think. Yeah.
I think like there's I sort of looked at I looked at a list of things content creators could like create, and I've got the music concerts, you know, so they could do concerts, they could do fashion stuff, so they could make like like you said, Mal, like creating clothes in the metaverse and like creating like unique assets. There's even social and dating. You know, like creating that sort of those sort of experiences, cars, games, sports, real estate, shopping. You know, I've got a whole list here.
Yeah, it goes on, doesn't it? Yeah, really. It's awesome. It's exciting.
What I want to ask actually is like,
this is what's really exciting. Sorry to interrupt, but like, I love it when we actually talk about these things, because I think, you know, when you look at Meta or a proprietary platform like Meta, or like Meta was trying to achieve, what I tried to have this conversation, I was like, kind of what they've sort of done, or what Mark Zuckerberg or his board or whoever, or Meta have tried to do, is they've tried to go, you know, the metaverse is the new internet. We want to own the new internet and create all of the standards across all the different verticals for everything that comes through. And then we want to kind of be, you know, the monetization layer for that. But the problem with that is that it's kind of like going, I want to create a new world and own it and govern it all on myself. And it's like, and then I want to hire, like, you know, what is it, 10,000 developers or whatever he hired to do it. But the problem with that is that, like, it's like trying to create a new, like the world that we now have in hyperspeed with 10,000 people. And I think what's really exciting for me about Cryptoverse is that it's like, it's not restrictive, you know, and everybody's kind of got the opportunity to kind of contribute in various different layers. And we're not going, we want to control everything. Actually, what we're saying is we want to curate with you, you know, and we want to enable different verticals, different layers, different types, different individuals, different groups, different communities to be able to contribute, to be able to curate. And I think, you know, surely that's really the only way that it's going to be successful.
Well, let me ask you both a question then, you know, following on from that. So, why would, I think, obviously, the metaverse is going to be successful. You've got this, you know, based on the type of content experiences that are there, based on the amount of players that are there, right? You're going to need users knocking about. You're going to need people creating experiences for those guys.
Yeah.
You know, how do you create a platform that is going to attract users that doesn't have content, and that's going to attract content creators that doesn't have all the users? Like, how do you create something like that?
I think you just answered your question, because these two type of people exist, right? So if you're a creator, you can sell your creations to people who are not creators, right? So if I want to have a house in the Cryptoverse, I don't have to learn a modeling program, you know, like I can go to the store and buy one that I like and just place it on my parcel, let's say. And if you are a developer, a content creator, you can do different houses for different people, right? So I think this combination is where the magic is.
I think Mal's exactly right. I think when you look at it in, like, you know, high level, that's the way that we have to understand and categorize, right? Like maybe the different types of consumer, the different types of user, the different types of community member, whatever you want to talk about. But I also think that there's kind of an underlying third layer about this, in which that actually, if you look at in Web3, for example, people who often create also are the consumer of other people's creations. And I think I sort of mentioned this to you before, Dan, is it's like it's a community almost of these like-minded individuals where it's like, yeah, I want to go and buy these really cool pieces of artwork or these NFTs. And then I'm also a creator and I sell these, and other people, and it's kind of like a little bit of a symbiotic relationship between the two. So it's not just a case of categorizing you're a content creator and you're a consumer, and there are those two distinct, but oftentimes it's actually that there's more of a fluid relationship between the two, and oftentimes there's people who do both. And I think for even for those whom are just pure consumers, they've always got the understanding that actually, if I ever want to create, there are ways in which I can do that. There are opportunities, and if you think about it and you liken it to the physical world, it's also a bit like that in the sense that as long as there is kind of like a an allure that if I put enough time, effort, dedication into something, I can do that. You know, the kind of in many ways, some might even say, "Oh, it's the American dream." But I'm talking like, you know, a layer down from that. I'm talking about, you know,
English dream.
No, not even. I'm like, for example, the other day, obviously, I moved into my new house. We talked about this. Like, I've never really done much manual labor in my life. I've always been much more to kind of work in like tech or, you know, using kind of my brain, if you like, or whatever. So education, blah, blah, blah. But the other day, I was like, moved into my new house. I needed some concrete doing. And I was like, you know, I could try and book someone. It'd take me a while, get, you know, somebody who's in especially with concrete. And I was like, actually, you know what? I'm going to do it myself. So I actually learned how to basically, you know, dig a trench, put a layer of ballast, what depth I needed to go to, how to get it level, you know, how to mix the concrete, get the concrete. And I did it. And it's like, yeah, I was pretty impressed with myself, actually. And it's like, the point is that much like creating content in the metaverse or creating something in the real world, if you put enough time and effort into it, you can learn that skill. And I think as long as that opportunity to do that and to move from consumer to creator or from creator to consumer exists, then you have an entirely new type of persona of individual that is actually going to be more active inside a metaverse environment.
Well, actually, I can sort of really back up what you're saying there because, you know, as you know, we're always looking at like, who the perfect person is for the metaverse, obviously to do with what we do, right? We're trying to find out who wants the metaverse. And when I was sort of concluding my research at the end, and I kind of talked to you about this yesterday a little bit, I kind of looked at we kind of clarified that we've got these explorers, people that want to explore content, and people that want to build content. You know, kind of it all comes down to what you kind of said, Mal. You got that too there. When I was looking at who those individuals might be, they started to seem very similarly like the same person. You know, like when I was looking down the kind of demographics, I was like, okay, they're male, they're 25 to 35, they've got high rig NPCs, you know, they like modeling, they like
interests, games, and
I was like, shit, I'm looking in a mirror. Like, it's the exact same, yeah.
No, absolutely. I think the interests, if you start to look deeper into these personas of creator and consumer and the interests of them, of these types of persona, they will have large overlap. And I think there's more of an interconnectivity there than, you know, being able to kind of just bucket in such broad buckets. If you don't have, and we don't dig into the deeper kind of layers of that interconnected relationship and the kind of symbiotic relationships that are going on between the different, you know, verticals of persona for those that are going to be in a metaverse environment, then, you know, you're going to, obviously, I think you're probably going to end up, you know, prioritizing incorrectly in terms of what you're building, but also, and how, you know, what those tools do, for example, as well as, you know, from a marketing point of view, for your perspective, for example, probably missing some key context to who you're marketing to and why, right?
And what I want to ask you both, actually, then, following on from that, is I think a big challenge for artists, content creators in the past couple, you know, certainly the last couple of months, that sounds quite a small time frame, but it's kind of like the rise of AI, right? You know, like people are, and it's good and both bad, you know, because it can help us and get things done faster and, you know, et cetera, et cetera. I guess AI is quite broad as well, because I reckon, you know, you could even be procedurally content is kind of AI, right? Well, I suppose it is. What I would say though is like, how do content creators and artists, how can being on the blockchain, like a decentralized metaverse, help credit people for their work? Is that something that's important to people? Would people care about that?
I mean, Mao, do you have I have an answer, but I don't know if Mao has any thoughts.
Yeah, for me, the AI is just another tool in the vast universe. So for me, I'm using it to help me when I am stuck trying to program something. So I go and I ask, please show me a function. How does it work? And it's telling me it's expecting these arguments, blah, blah, blah. But it's basically not doing the logic for me. It's just showing me how things are supposed to be coded, for example. I think it's got a long way to go until it replaces a human, for example. So I'm not threatened yet.
Beware. No, you shouldn't be. Obviously, no, you know, like I think with AI, you still have to. Someone still has to ask it the question.
Yeah,
at the moment,
yeah.
you know?
I think like Mal says, when you speak to say Mao or the other, either the programmers or the content creators in our team, they're not concerned by now. But I think you'd be, I wouldn't say the word is foolish, but irresponsible might be the word, if you were not to be wary of what it could potentially become without the proper regulation. Because, ultimately, machine learning, like machines that can basically take inputs and parameters from, say, 100,000 data points from users that are using a particular tool and use that data in order to self-improve and correct and refine to create something within, such a fraction of a degree of certainty that it just outperforms any human, results, is not unforeseeable. It's not impossible.
Yeah, I mean, well, shit. No,
yeah. I mean, there is no one and nothing that is not kind of.
I think you are smarter than AI, though, Rob. I think it's fair to say. You've probably got they've probably got like 100,000 sort of data. You've probably got like 1 million data points like that sort of thing.
Yeah, all right, mate.
Like, yes or no?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not, mate.
You are smart, Rob. You heard it here. You are smarter than AI.
Definitely not. Though I have read quite a lot about the arguments that AI, as long as it remains the tools, it's the people who use the tools the most creatively which are going to get the most success from AI. Which, you can see that. Creativity is just like basically looking at the same, I would say, subject matter from a different angle and applying it from a different perspective that's many people have not done so before, right?
Well, there's a couple. There's obviously there's inputting into it at the moment because it still needs input, and then there's kind of like interpreting, what it even puts out as well, as well. But eventually, I do see a world where I can say, please do all of my social, as a marketer, do all of my social media for the next 2 years and center it around like these keywords and, create these images that kind of on brand, these sort of brand, and just do it. And then I never have to, you never have to kind of do any, you never have to think about social media again, and tag these people in these kind of, industries and, it's all done, right?
Yeah. I mean, what's really scary about it is like that it's potential for thought leadership or thought, manipulating people's thoughts, because there is enough research which basically suggests that when people see a news media article, even when they are kind of told it's fake news, they still, the brain still basically takes on board that content as, an aspect of reality. And I don't know whether that's as a result of people's inability to maybe, be critical, and maybe the depth of criticality, or is just as a result of what the human condition is in terms of how our brains function. But it does pose a lot of challenges from a political and social point of view if AI is being used for, let's say, planning political arguments and, creating, fake news videos and so on and so forth. So yeah, that's not great.
Well, I actually asked AI this morning to write me a Metaverse joke.
Go on then.
No, I mean, I couldn't get it to do a good one, so...
You couldn't?
Well, I tried to, I put some great, prompts. I was like, do this, do that, and it was like, it just wouldn't, I couldn't get anything that was any good.
ChatGPT is our friend, like what it said, like, when ChatGPT asked what are the top 10 NFT projects, Chain Guardians was in there. Did you know that?
I did know that, yeah.
It's pretty cool, isn't it, actually?
It's very good, yeah.
So we like ChatGPT. ChatGPT is our friend.
Let me see, actually, if I can find it. I'm on my laptop now. I think it was this. Okay, yeah, so I asked it about 10. I've got ChatGPT Pro, so I've got the Pro account,
You pay for it?
Yeah, I pay for it, yeah. And, no, well, you get...
Some people need that additional help all the time.
Well, I use it as it's like a personal assistant. That's what it feels like.
That's what I mean.
To me,
Some people need that help all the time.
Well, it's like, I'm like, what am I thinking today? And it just tells me.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
So, okay, let me tell you a Metaverse joke. This is going to, Nell's going to replace your job as a comedian, Rob, when we hear this.
So, I'm so sorry.
For fuck's sake. These are rubbish. So,
it's okay.
Why don't content creators need coffee in the Metaverse? because they say dealing with all the bugs keeps them awake. It's like they're not getting the idea of a joke. Like,
Yeah, well, yeah.
Why did the computer break it with the metaverse? Because it said it needed some space. I don't,
Yeah, you wouldn't get that. It's too high level for you.
Well, it's not. It's rubbish. Why don't avatars?
Yeah, but you don't get it, do you?
Why don't
Explain the joke for me?
Space is like the space in between your head. So why don't avatars have a good sense of direction in the metaverse? Because they can't tell their left from their virtual right. So anyway, I've come up with a better one actually. So I was like, okay, these are all rubbish. Nothing can replace kind of my skills as a writer. So let's have a little look. Okay, so this is our metaverse joke of the month. When the digital self dies or perishes, what does the avatar get carried away in? When the digital self dies or perishes in the metaverse, what does the avatar get carried away in?
I'd imagine it's some sort of play on the word hearse, but go on.
Yeah, it's a metaverse. So
I just killed your joke there.
Yeah. Anyway, so was that better than the AI?
No.
It made sense. At least it made sense.
I feel like maybe the first one or two of the AIs was a little better.
Well, thanks for that. And so I want to ask one last question on content creation, actually. So we've kind of talked about the different types of experiences that people might create, and we've talked about, I suppose, what types of people might want to do it as well. I don't think it'd be fair to kind of, to call this a video essay, I suppose, without kind of looking into the challenges that I guess people might face. It's not a joke here, Ron. I'm not like
I don't know why you started to go all like sophisticated Englishman.
Well, do you know, actually, just FYI for the people editors listening here, I want to make sure that comment about me in the medical center in the metaverse is cut out of this.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, we're going to cut that part out, definitely. So just FYI, that's for you there.
The anus bit.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, we can refer to it like if there's a sharp cut in the middle, like it's because I said something silly and I don't want to have it.
Dan's going to create.
Well, let's just move on.
Dan's going to create anus verse.
I tell you what, that'd be more popular than any metaverse out there.
Literally, the thing that's SEO keyword.
Metaverse hole. Metaverse hole.
That'd have been a better joke.
Yeah, there you go. So what sort of challenges might people have when creating content in the metaverse,
Ooh, I can tell you all about that one.
How long have we got?
Oh, fuck's sake.
Right. No, I mean, it's a very technically skilled discipline, right? Like there is a million factors that go into it, and even if you know most of it, once they are in practice, you can tell you could have done things a little bit different here and there, so it could be more optimal. So yeah, it's like a never-ending, ongoing learning curve.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a technical element, I suppose.
Yeah, but I think Miles talking about it from a.
He's like a content creative behind, he's like content creator squared. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And Miles creating content, Miles creating tools to be used by content creators. It's a much different challenge from actually using the tools or creating content to implement, I think. But all the same, Mal obviously still does create the content itself for certain areas. So he still obviously is referring to that somewhat and obviously does have that experience for sure. But I think, the types of challenges Mal will face should be very different from the types of challenges that people who are using the tools or creating their own content will face. But yeah, I think depending on what you want to achieve, should dictate the type and difficulty of challenge that you have. If you are wanting to utilize the building tools we provide with, the assets that we provide and basically, and so on and so forth, it's a lot less going to be, nowhere near as challenging. It's more about, it's a creative challenge, right? And any bugs that you might find if the tool as it's going through its iteration. But if you are creating content using content creation softwares, then you're going to have problems with, if you're new to it, learning how to use a tool, or making sure that the content you create in those tools is fit for purpose inside an environment that has certain rules for how that content needs to behave in that environment. So it really depends on what layer you are coming in at, as to how challenging and what type of challenges you may face. But our job is to make it as simple as possible for most people who are creating content to be able to do so seamlessly. So for the content creators, for example, we want auto checks for, the poly count, the height of it, what textures are being used, the maps and so on. So that automated check, user who's created custom content can bang it into there, okay, it's telling me these are issues, or no, it's good, go. So I can submit it for approval, gets approved by the team, we can add it in as an asset or otherwise, right? Versus somebody who's using the builder tools that we provide, when I drag and drop these two different assets together, different types of walls, there's a conflict, they're not working for whatever reason. That's feedback to us, we can refine it or basically give instructions not to use them together for X, Y, and Z reasons. So it really just depends on who it is that's creating the content and at what level they are at.
What you're saying essentially is there's a kind of a skill element, there's a technical element as well, and I suppose almost a standards piece as well in there, chucked in there somewhere. But it sounds like Cryptoverse, and I'm not trying to toot our own horn because, I'll never do that. Well, I do that, and I should do that because I love Cryptoverse. It's amazing.
Best.
Yeah, it's the best metaverse out there. Metaverse.
In the world.
It's the best metaverse hole there is.
It's the best metaverse in the metaverse.
You need to, you join my team in marketing, please. Those sort of lines.
Yeah, the best.
Yeah. Now, what I was saying is I don't know what I was saying. Oh, my God.
You're talking about what we do really well in Cryptoverse with the content.
Oh yeah, but it sounds like what we are prioritizing is no matter what kind of your skill level is, whether you can kind of go as deep and as detailed as you want by importing kind of the content you want that you've built sort of personally, or B, you can kind of go and use our in-game builder tool and put have a vision and do that and build something, or C, you can go to Mouse Shop and buy the content, so you've kind of got you've got all those three different levels there of whether you're creative or not. I can't draw, right? I'm left-handed, so I've got very limited,
people are left-handed can't draw.
Well, exactly. So I've got very limited skills, when it comes to that. So I would need to go to Mouse Shop, I think, to buy something.
And there would be a large amount of people that probably would, and then actually, like I said, symbiotic relations, some people who are buying things to begin with might eventually go, I want to learn how to do this, it excites me, I enjoy it. You want it to become people's passion, something that they're enjoying doing, right? Either creating content or interacting with it. So I don't want to think that people are stuck in a particular bucket. If you're first coming to Cryptoverse, I would imagine most people are explorers and looking to engage with the content that's already there. That's why it's so important we have a solid city area, right? But over time, you want to convert people too. You want to provide educational opportunities for people to learn how to build their own stuff as well. So it's all stepping stones and a process. But yeah, even for me, for example, I can't model. So my thing would be I would be going to either a private content creator and give them the specifics of what I want, or I would buy something off the store, or I'd use the builder tool. I wouldn't be creating content in the software development tools, certainly not in the early stages. So it's fine to be not somebody who's not familiar with content or content creation when you first, when you're coming into the metaverse. The whole point is that it's supposed to have different experiences, opportunities for lots of different types of people and their personas. So yeah,
it's a bit like being a YouTuber back in the day, right? Nobody could do it, but now anyone could be a YouTuber.
Yeah,
it's what a rubbish example that is.
No, it's a great example. Open
great
broadcast
example.
software, for example, right? I remember when I first started, you tried to do that just to do some streaming. It was such an effort,
what
just
platform were you on? OnlyFans or
open broadcast software. I was using it for Twitch, when I was early 20s, late teens, and everybody were like, oh yeah, I want to do a bit of streaming. And it was like, I managed to get it up and working, but what an effort. Whereas now, I went to redo it because we're just doing some demo stuff for Cryptoverse before it's live and whatever. And it's like, if you do it on Zoom or Google Meet, it looks crap, pitch quality. So I thought I'd do it via Twitch, and I reinstalled OBS, and I was literally up and running and had a live stream on Twitch within 10 minutes.
Oh, wow.
It's like so easy. It's like all, kind of intuitively picking the best settings based on your hardware and whatever, and then, you have a couple of drop-down options and boom, you're in. Whereas before, I want to think about what I had to do.
Well, send me a link to your streaming channel, because I want to watch that. That would be the ragiest gamer of all time, I think.
That's why I just stopped streaming. Even like when I was younger, I was
Angriest.
like, I could literally go to jail for these streams.
Sorry, what? That's a soundbite, right? That is. Mal, I want to
keeping it real, man.
I want to ask you, Mal, a final question, Mal. What advice would you give to somebody, who wants to create content in the metaverse? Like, how, if someone's going to go away and get started, what's your tip?
There are some tools that you really need to know. Unreal is number one. Then it will be good to know some 3D content creation software like Maya or Blender. Blender is free, for example. You can create 3D models, rig them, and use them in Unreal with a Blender. And Blender is open source, so you don't have to invest. Unreal is also free to download, so nothing is stopping you. Right?
Yeah, Blueprint's visual programming language, I think, via Unreal, and that will probably what we base our modding tool off. So, people who want to create custom functionality have got the opportunity to do so on their land with the Blueprint system from Unreal. So, that's a visual programming language. Again, you don't need to be able to code to use that. It's you're still learning. You still have to read and research like anything, but it's not like you need to have gone and done computer science at uni to be able to use that.
And actually, Mal, Mal, you don't know it yet, but I think one of the things we're going to do with marketing is, we're going to get you a series, where you're going to teach people this shit, week in, week out. People are going to hear from you.
I wouldn't mind.
Yeah.
It's got to happen in the metaverse, all right? That's what we said.
Oh, yeah, it will happen in the metaverse, yeah.
It's got to happen in Cryptoverse.
We got making a Malverse.
Making a Malverse.
So that's...
I just call it Malverse. It's cleaner.
Well, no, names are my thing. So.
I'm like the guy that came in at, when Zuckerberg was selling
the Facebook,
and it was the Facebook. He was just like, Facebook, it's cleaner.
And thank you so much, Mal, for your time today. I appreciate it. It's always a pleasure. And as I say, the fans, I know the fans of Cryptoverse love you.
Awesome. I love them back.
Yeah. Thanks, Mal.
Spend more money.
Have a great day, Mal. Thanks a lot. We'll see you. We'll see you soon. Okay. Thank you, mate.
Yeah. Go do some work, Mal.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Mal.
Bye.
Bye, mate.
Thank you so much to Mal. Mal is the smartest content creator I know. I think that's fair to say, and I know one or two. That's not nasty. That's just he's smarter than most of them.
Yeah, he's very talented. He can do everything in content, and that's not normal. Usually, I have somebody who specializes in rigging, someone who specializes in modeling, someone specializes in animation, specializes in Houdini and the tools that you can create for procedural content, blah, blah, blah. The list goes on. He can do it all. He can literally do it all. Very, very talented. But, he's been doing it a lot of years, a lot of years. So
he doesn't look old, but he's actually 58.
I can't remember. I think he's mid 40s now.
No, there's no way. He might be. Yeah, to be fair, yeah.
I'm almost certain when I first met him, he's like, hey, I've been creating content for 20 years. So
wow,
you got to think as well. He actually even does works with Python a little bit for exporting data sets, doesn't he, as well?
What's that, like a snake, is it?
Python.
Yeah, that's a big snake. He works with Pythons, does he, at the Metaverse Zoo?
The programming language.
Yeah, no, Rob. Yeah, what I'd like to end with then is a little bit of a Cryptoverse update. We've talked about content creations for all the content fans out there. Listen to it, learn something. Tell us if you liked it in the comments below. And actually, Rob, but the big thing coming up for us is the new playtest. We're going to let people try Cryptoverse for the second time ever. You know, so I think if you're listening to this and you're kind of interested in content creation, you're interested in kind of how Metaverse might work, you know, what you can do in it, you know, we'll put a link in the chat, but in the comments that you can kind of sign up for the next playtest. Yeah, in the description. So make sure you get yourself signed up. 'Cause we've not actually released any information as of this recording.
No, we haven't.
But there will be, probably when this comes out, there will be some information knocking about there and what's going to be included. We've got a much richer experience with more content, more things to do. And actually, I think the most exciting thing that's relevant to this podcast is going to be much better sort of building opportunities, you know, with in terms of like how you can build and, you know, the space you can build in. And I think that's the most exciting for me personally.
Yeah, that's massive. I think the builder tool needs to be really powerful. We've taken some baby steps with the builder. It's not as much as we'd like, but still, even those baby steps improve its performance. They improve its kind of potential exponentially. So yeah, we're excited about that. And I think, you know, things that you don't see around optimization, performance and stuff have also been improved with the builder tool. So I'm excited to see what new things people start to create with that builder tool.
Fantastic. So make sure you get signed up for that. And just to incentivize people, we've got a competition to end on. If you are interested in having a place in the metaverse, then sign up for our wait list. Fuck's sake, I've definitely lost my train of thought. I've just like literally lost it at this end point.
What's so weird?
Nothing. I don't know.
What you were just saying? There's a competition to enter. Like,
I know. Yeah, we're gonna have to recut that part.
Why do you have to recut that again? Just own your shit.
I know, but yeah, no. I'm not being a good presenter at the end of this.
All
okay.
right.
If you are interested in owning a piece of the
If you are interested in owning a piece of the metaverse.
Metaverse.
You are turning this to a metaverse.
Wanker.
These lads want to get home by 8 p.m. tonight. Fucking hell.
If you are interested in owning some land in the metaverse, sign up for our waitlist to the new playtest.
And here we have two zebras walking across the plains of Africa.
Would you like to win some land? I don't know what that is. I was trying to do Owen Wilson. Completely failed. Like,
I wasn't too bad now that you've given me that context.
Wow, metaverse. No. Wow. Metaverse.
Literally, you've got like 1 minute.
I'll do it in Tom Hanks' voice. If you would like... No, bad. Michael Caine?
You're just like, literally all of you got in the locker is Leonardo DiCaprio from Blood Diamond. That's all you've got.
I would like to own some metaverse land.
That's not...
Michael Caine.
That didn't work.
Well, you're going to have to cut all this, by the way.
Why?
It's terrible. Like,
I think you should literally keep this in just for everybody to show what I really have to work with.
I'm just trying to think, like, what accents could I actually do? That isn't affect, like, what celebs, you know? I don't think I can do any, yeah. So... Thank you for listening to everybody. If you want to win some Metaverse land, we have a competition. All you need to do is sign up for our waitlist and you can win a plot of land. You know, it'll be yours. You can build on it. You can do whatever the fuck you like with it. It'll be brilliant. Get yourself signed up to the Metaverse. Playtest 2. It's going to be fucking awesome. What do you think, Rob?
I've got nothing further on that. I can't do that. Like, you really hyped yourself up and got everybody else hyped up, and it's difficult for me to keep that energy because I'm much more level-headed than you are. So, yeah, sign up, win land, have fun. GG.
Thank you so much for listening. I'm really disappointed that I've not had a chance to insult you more today, Robbie. But you've been
you want us pre-planned because I actually give you work to do.
I know. Yeah, I had more stuff to say, but you know, we'll leave it there. Thank you for listening to Making a Metaverse.
See you next time.
There'll be a director's cut of this episode, I'm sure, somewhere with a lot more content. But for now, see you next time on Making a Metaverse. Cheers.